Excuse me, I should have mentioned, Patrick is founder of the Tokyo International School and also founder of TEDx Tokyo, which is relevant as another learning model. Patrick.
Right, and here we go. I've lived in Japan for 20 years. I love Japan. In those 20 years, I've seen more than 20 prime ministers. So it gives you a little bit of an idea how Japan looks at politics and things. Very little change. Japan is battling right now with what to do. Do they continue to follow the West and buy more and have more things, or fall back into nature and find the harmony that they once had? The 20th century education system has served Japan very well. If you think about it, after the war, they really had to rebuild themselves. So factory-style education was perfect for Japan during the 20th century. And we can all see the results of that. 5, 4, 3, 2. 40 students in a classroom. Basically, all the students in Japan are on the same page in the same textbook. They're bored. There's a lot of bullying that's taking place. And I think if you look at the society and what's happening in Japan, this education model obviously is not fitting kids of the 21st century, our digital natives who are so used to so much different kinds of input. Japan is an exam-based, focused country. Like most countries around the world, the universities set the bar, and then everybody below that has to follow that. The exam-based system, the juku system, the cram schools, children are spending hours doing mindless work to prepare themselves to enter an elementary school or a university. Japan is very much a homogeneous country. There's 98.6% of the people in Japan are Japanese. It's all about being part of the group. It's all about harmony. We've all heard this so many different times. It's true. I've lived there for 20 years. I'm part of that 1.4% that's not Japanese. Japan does basics very well. 99% of the students in Japan, they are literate. It's not easy when you have thousands of Japanese or Chinese characters to remember. The math is okay. They're a bit frustrated. Like I said, they do the basics well. They're a bit frustrated because they see their rankings in the OECD going down and some of the other nations rising. And why is that? It's not because of free hugs. It's because of, one of the reasons is the unions. The unions, like in most countries around the world, are extremely strong. The boards of education, average age 64.5%. Average age 64 and a half years old. 89% are male. So you have a bunch of old men running the boards of education. Accountability, you cannot fire teachers there. They have annual exams, basically, but again, it's exam driven. Teachers are expected to do the basics there. The jukus are expected to get them into the universities. The red marker, the power of the red marker. If you ask Japanese people about the marker, they remember when they made that one mistake or two mistakes, that marker was just, it's embedded in their head. They're so afraid to make mistakes. Why is Japan ranked one ranking above North Korea in English? Think about that. One ranking above North Korean English because they're so afraid to make mistakes. They write better than I do, but they cannot speak because they're worried about making mistakes. Japan is very much a country about harmony, being connected. Again, they're battling between, shall we chase after what the West has, or do we go back into harmony with nature? If you think about Japan, it's Shintoism. Shintoism is about being connected with the nature and the country. As you all know, we've recently had a disaster. A lot of people look at it as an opportunity. It sounds crazy, but nothing happens in Japan or changes in Japan unless there is some kind of disaster. It's almost what Japan has been waiting for. The last 3 months, there's been so much talk about now we can make change, we can do this. What's the new Japan going to look like? It's interesting. So now we have the sun rising again. We've got a new opportunity. What do? How do we move forward? How do we move forward in the 21st century in Japan? Through curiosity, through inquiry, through looking at things in a different way, except for the exam-driven education, juku system that they know. How do you bridge that gap? How do you create a country that is more creative? Students are more creative. Japan no longer is a company of producing goods. Most of the production's outside of Japan, so they need to shift towards that and towards to being more creative. So students have to feel comfortable to take risk, to be more open-minded, to be able to do things in a broader sense. Has to go from the guy, the teacher, the sage on the stage to the guide by the side. About empowering the learner and about working together with the learner. not about I'm the teacher, I'm going to impart the knowledge, and I'm sure everybody in this room has heard this before, said this before, thought about this before, but really how do you make that shift into something else? This was the one slide, I wasn't sure what I was going to say, but it just came to me. Neuroscience. There's a lot of stuff out there about neuroscientists, and I have a lot of friends who are neuroscientists. And there's, we're starting to get in regards to our knowledge around neuroscience, but what's wonderful about it is it's really scientifically confirming the things that we already know and we've seen over history. Being sensorial. One of the things I think we've lost in schools in education is being sensorial. Being connected with our five senses. Really being connected with our five senses and understanding what that means. Because if we're present and we're connected with our senses and we're not off in la-la land playing a game or doing something digital or doing 5 things at one time, we can see what a difference that will make. Digital tools, very simply, give the students the tools, give them an end goal, and get out of their way. Because they will know a lot more than we do in regards to what to do with those tools. So really it's about guiding them, it's about giving them what they need, telling them where they need to go, and letting them get on with it. Assessment. One of the major issues that we've whether it's standardized tests or the traditional assessment tools we've been using to assess the masses, we really need to step away from the common model and look at digital portfolios, look at different ways that are relevant of matching the way we assess learners with what they need in the real world. Key learning processes, so much I see here it's about knowledge and content and those things, but really if you think about it in life, it's the processes that we learn. And if we had 6 or 8 or 10 different processes that were hardwired in our brain from a young age, how different would we be when we went out into the real world? And the last is, there's been talk about multiple intelligence, emotional intelligence, collective intelligence. And if I think about Japan, Japan is a collective society. It's very much about one, it's very much about being together. So I think if Japan can find their way in regards to collective intelligence, and to find how to be creative and empower each other using the concept of collective intelligence, I think that will be one of the key things to move Japan forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.